Hey there, all you horror hounds. Welcome back to Crypt Finder. So, I'm continuing this sort of enigmatic look at made for TV movies, particularly horror films and thrillers that the world has just pretty much forgotten. And I got a double header for you this evening, and all of it is focused on the immense talent of Elizabeth Montgomery. So many people will remember her. She played the witch, Samantha Stevens, in the beloved series Bewitched, which ran from 1964 to 1972. And just after she waved goodbye to that legendary comedic role, she plunged into a much more serious and suspenseful, character-driven thriller in The Victim. This was a made-for-TV mystery thriller. It aired on ABC November 14th, 1972. This movie is sometimes known by the lesser title Out of Contention. I'm not really sure why. That seems like a very overinflated and unnecessary title. But The Victim revolves all around Kate, who's played by Montgomery, and she's deeply concerned about a troubling call from her sister Susan, who's portrayed by Jess Walton. Susan's marriage has pretty much crumbled apart, and she's in a very fragile state. Despite Susan's plea for solitude, Kate decides she needs to see her anyway, and so she travels to her secluded estate even as a massive storm is approaching. Upon arrival, she finds the house eerily empty, except for the enigmatic housekeeper, Mrs. Hawkes, who's played by Eileen Eckhart, who claims no, she hasn't seen Susan since she arrived to make dinner. You've probably heard me say this on Crypt Finder before, but when exploring these made-for-TV movies, you have got to understand the limitations of the era. There is nothing in this movie that is going to be groundbreaking, that's going to be so different in terms of plot or tropes. You got rain and lightning and thunder and broken windows and strange noises. And yes, there is a killer. You know that pretty early on. But what this movie does have going for it, just in spades, is Elizabeth Montgomery just transcends all of her comedic past. She delivers a gripping performance as a very determined woman seeking the truth about her sister. The chemistry between Elizabeth Montgomery and Eileen Eckhart here also just adds another layer of suspense. It's really nice. Eileen Eckhart was such a consummate actor. I really wish that she had played more villains. She did turn in a performance as a murderer in Alfred Hitchcock Presents with Coming Mama in 1961, and she does a really sinister turn in Dan Curtis's movie Burnt Offerings from 1976, but she could do more with a sly glance and the way she could spit out a line with just enough of that kind of gravelly voice to cut you to shreds. It just makes me wish she had played far more dangerous characters. Interestingly, the original story was by McKnight Malmar, and it was just entitled The Storm, and it was published in Good Housekeeping in February 1944. It's a great short story, by the way, if you're so inclined to go out there online and look it up. It was adapted twice for radio, once in 1949 and again in 1953. And it was also adapted into a 1962 episode of Boris Karloff's Thriller, the anthology series, and it starred Nancy Kelly. She was the mom of that pesky little psychopath in Bad Seed from 1956. She was terrific in that movie, and she's really terrific in this episode as well. But here in The Victim, writer Merwin Gerard veers from the original story a bit, but still maintains enough of the meat of it to really satisfy. And director Herschel Daughtry masterfully utilizes a minimal cast and locations and a simple plot to create a nail-biting atmosphere of dread. I think filmmakers could actually learn a thing or two here from Daughtry's ability to build such suspense from such a simple premise. I don't really know about it on a second viewing. Yeah, it's probably not going to carry that level of intensity, but that would be true for any sort of murder mystery. But if you've never seen this film before, I think you are going to be very surprised at how much anxiety you suddenly have when really you're just watching Elizabeth Montgomery walking around a big old house in a storm. So while the mystery itself might be very predictable by today's standards, the suspense and performances make this a worthwhile watch. I recommend viewing this one on a stormy night, perfectly matching the movie's eerie weather conditions and also amplifying Elizabeth Montgomery's terrific performance. Next up, for those craving more Elizabeth Montgomery, it's a 1975 excellent made-for-TV film, The Legend of Lizzie Borden. While The Victim is a straightforward mystery thriller, this film dives a lot deeper into the crime thriller genre, recounting the infamous 1892 murders of Andrew and Abby Borden and the subsequent trial of Andrew's daughter, Lizzie Borden. Montgomery shines yet again. She actually earned an Emmy nomination for her performance as Lizzie Borden. The movie allows her to explore sort of a full range of emotion here. She goes everywhere from sort of sinister camp all the way to very intense drama. The narrative unfolds in a quasi-documentary style, with sections like The Accusation, focusing on the coroner's inquest, and then The Ordeal, highlighting Lizzie's wait for trial and her eccentricities. Then you had a section called The Trial, delving just into the courtroom testimonies. Another section was The Betrayal, centering on the burning of Lizzie's dress. And finally, the section The Verdict reveals all the possible sequences of the murders before delivering the outcome. The director of this film was Paul Wendigos, who alternated between successful films like Gidget in 1959 and Angel Baby in 1961 with George Hamilton, but he also helmed episodes of Ben Casey, Dr. Kildare, The Rifleman, Hawaii Five-0, and he also directed a theatrical horror movie that I always enjoyed so much. It's called The Manifesto Waltz in 1971, starring Alan Alda and Jacqueline Bisset. But he also directed another made-for-TV movie, and can you guess it? Yep, I covered it on another episode. It was called Haunts of the Very Rich from 1972. Here, though, he takes the legend of Lizzie Borden and he really transcends the sort of typical movie of the week formula with outstanding direction and production values. Okay, the hints of incest and the bloodshed are going to seem really tame by today's standards, but they were quite provocative at the time, making this film a real standout in the made-for-TV thriller genre. Elizabeth Montgomery is also backed up by a fantastic supporting cast. Finola Flanagan, who you might recognize from The Others with Nicole Kidman, is in the film. Ed Flanders, who was in St. Elsewhere and also Salem's Lot. You have Katherine Hellman playing Emma Borden. She was, of course, known for Soap and Who's the Boss. And Fritz Weaver, who was in Creepshow, Marathon Man, Demon Seed, also Black Sunday. He plays Andrew Borden. You had Bonnie Bartlett, who was on Little House on the Prairie, and Hayden Rourke, who was Dr. Bellows on I Dream of Jeannie. For fans of courtroom drama, the extensive trial scenes will be a real treat, and of course, Elizabeth Montgomery's performance is a highlight, elevating the entire production. These two films will make a perfect double feature some night in your own crib. I hope you go and check them out. Until next time, everyone, stay curious and stay scared.